Tonight, we return to the wizarding world at a time when the air itself feels uneasy. Far from Hogwarts' school of witchcraft and wizardry, strange accidents and unexplained disasters are happening all over Britain. In quiet villages and crowded cities, people who know nothing of magic read troubling headlines and feel a chill they cannot explain. Windows rattle in empty rooms. Lights flicker and go out without warning. Bridges fail and storms arrive with uncanny timing. Somewhere behind these events, a dark wizard who once fell is rising again. Those who do know about magic understand very well what this means. They speak in hushed voices of Lord Voldemort, the wizard who terrorized their world once before, and who has now returned with his followers. No place feels completely safe. Not even Hogwarts, which was once thought of as the safest place in the world for young witches and wizards. In a quiet suburban street, number 4 Privet Drive sits stiff and ordinary among the neat houses and clipped lawns. Inside this very normal house lives a boy who does not feel normal at all. Harry Potter is spending what may be his last summer with the Dursley family. He has grown taller and leaner, with unruly dark hair and a lightning-shaped scar that marks him out as different, whether he likes it or not. His Aunt Petunia, Uncle Vernon, and Cousin Dudley still treat him with a mixture of fear and dislike. But there is something new in the air this summer. Even they cannot completely ignore the tension that seems to hang over the country. One warm evening the doorbell rings, and when Harry opens it, he finds Albus Dumbledore waiting on the doorstep. Dumbledore, the headmaster of Hogwarts, looks older than before, his hand blackened and damaged by some injury he does not yet explain. His blue eyes, however, still hold their familiar twinkle. Harry invites him in, and the Dursleys shuffle nervously around the living room, while Dumbledore speaks in his calm, courteous way. He explains that he is taking Harry away earlier than usual, and that Harry will not be returning to live with them in the same way again. There is a sense of quiet finality in his words. Harry feels relief at leaving, but also a faint tug of something else, the recognition that even disliked places can hold the weight of long years. Dumbledore tells Harry that there is a short visit they must make before reaching the safety of the burrow, the family home of the Weasleys. Together, they apparate away, vanishing from Privet Drive as if the house itself sighs with relief behind them. They appear in a dark country lane near a small village where a retired wizard lives in hiding. This wizard is Horace Slughorn, once a teacher at Hogwarts. He has been avoiding invitations to return to the school, fearful of the dangerous times. Dumbledore, however, believes that Slughorn is too important to leave in hiding. The house they approach appears wrecked at first glance, as if burglars tore through it in a rage. Chairs are overturned, glass lies broken, and dark stains mark the walls. But Dumbledore moves with quiet assurance. With a gentle flick of his wand, he sets the room right again, revealing the chaos to be nothing more than an illusion. From a heavy armchair rises a plump, mustached man who has been pretending to be a part of the furniture. This is Horace Slughorn, who has disguised himself out of nervousness rather than genuine danger. Harry watches as Dumbledore speaks with Slughorn. The older wizard is vain, fond of comfort and famous connections. He is especially interested in students he considers promising or well-connected. Dumbledore, with patient charm and subtle hints, encourages Slughorn to return to Hogwarts and resume teaching. Harry, who is already famous in the wizarding world, plays his part by simply being present, a living reminder of the sort of student Slughorn loves to gather around him. Eventually, Slughorn gives in. The prospect of returning to the safety of Hogwarts, with its good food and interesting students, proves too tempting. He agrees to teach again, and Dumbledore is satisfied. Before leaving, Dumbledore mentions quietly that Harry will inherit a house and money from his godfather Sirius, who died the previous year. There is sadness in this reminder, but also a sense of new responsibility. Harry is growing, not only in age, but in the weight he must carry. Harry and Dumbledore travel on, this time to the countryside home of the Weasley family. The burrow looks as if it has grown in odd stages, with rooms added wherever space could be found, held upright more by magic and love than by good architecture. The garden is filled with chickens, gnomes, and a sense of cheerful disorder. Molly Weasley rushes to greet Harry, scolding him affectionately and fussing over whether he has eaten properly. Arthur Weasley welcomes him with a smile that crinkles the corners of his eyes. The Weasley children appear one by one, filling the house with voices and movement. Ron is tall and freckled, his red hair as vivid as ever. Hermione arrives soon after, bushy-haired and bright-eyed, invited to stay with the Weasleys for the rest of the summer. Ginny, Ron's younger sister, moves around the house with an easy confidence, laughing with friends and family. Harry notices her more often than he used to, and that quiet awareness will slowly grow. This summer the burrow feels busier than usual. Bill Weasley, the eldest brother, visits with his fiancée Fleur de Lacquer, whose beauty and self-assurance do not immediately endear her to everyone in the family. Molly worries about wedding plans and finances. Fred and George Weasley are running a joke shop in Diagon Alley and arrive now. And then, with new magical products and loud stories. Despite the underlying fear in the wider world, the burrow offers Harry moments of ordinary life he rarely experienced with the Dursleys. Meals around the scrubbed wooden table, chores in the garden, shared jokes, and lazy afternoons in the orchard create a sense of warmth that settles over him like a blanket. Yet even here, the war outside cannot be completely ignored. Visitors arrive with news of attacks and disappearances. The Order of the Phoenix, the secret group that resists Voldemort, meets in quiet corners and whispered conversations. Members come and go on missions, their faces serious. A trip to Diagon Alley makes the difference between safety and danger more obvious. Where once the wizarding shopping street bustled with carefree students and families, now it feels guarded and tense. Signs warn of death, eater activity, and posters show the faces of wanted witches and wizards. Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, the joke shop opened by Fred and George, is a bright spot amid the gloom. Its shelves are packed with colorful products that explode, sparkle, giggle, and transform in surprising ways. Harry, Ron, and Hermione weave between displays of trick wands, enchanted fireworks, and sweets with unusual side effects. Laughter echoes from customers who are glad for a moment of silliness. Outside the shop, though, the mood darkens again. Harry notices Draco Malfoy break away from his mother and slip into a dark shop called Borgin and Burke's. Suspicion stirs inside Harry. He has long believed Draco to be a bully and a follower of dark traditions. Now, seeing him whisper with a nervous shopkeeper in a place known for dangerous objects, Harry begins to suspect that Draco may have been recruited by Voldemort himself. His friends are not convinced at first. Hermione calls it guesswork, and Ron thinks Draco is too young for such an important role. Still, the image of Draco in that shadowed shop lingers in Harry's mind. Soon the holidays end, and the day comes to return to Hogwarts. At the station, everyone hugs goodbye, baggage rattles, and owls hoot in their cages. Guards from the Ministry of Magic hover around, watchful and stern, a visible reminder that even the journey to school requires protection now. On the Hogwarts Express, Harry, Ron, and Hermione share a compartment as they always do, though many things feel different. Prefects patrol the corridors. Students whisper about attacks and disappearances they have heard of at home. Rumors about new teachers travel from compartment to compartment. Harry is still thinking about Draco Malfoy. At one point, he slips on his invisibility cloak, the shimmering fabric that hides him from sight, and follows Draco to the back of the train. There he sneaks into a luggage rack and listens as Draco talks with his friends. Draco hints that he has been given a mission by Voldemort, that he is important now, not just the son of a Death Eater, but someone trusted in his own right. The words are boastful, but there is a sharp edge under them. When Draco leaves, he discovers Harry spying on him and strikes back with sudden anger, using magic to freeze Harry in place and leave him hidden under the cloak. Harry lies alone, stiff and uncomfortable, until his friends rescue him as the train empties at the station. Hogwarts itself rises from the mist as welcoming and mysterious as ever. Its many towers and windows lit with warm golden light. The boats and carriages bring students up to the castle, where the great hall waits with its floating candles and enchanted ceiling that shows the night sky. At the start of term feast, Dumbledore welcomes everyone back in his calm voice. He announces that Horace Slughorn will be teaching potions, while Severus Snape, long a potions master, will now teach defense against the dark arts. This news trails a strange silence across the hall. Snape has always been a stern and intimidating figure, his loyalties a subject of quiet argument among teachers and students alike. Lessons begin. Harry believes he will not be able to take advanced potions because his grades were only just good enough, but Slughorn accepts him into the class. When Harry arrives, there are not enough new textbooks in the cupboard, and he is handed an old, worn copy. This old book, however, turns out to be more than a cast-off. Its margins are filled with handwritten notes, improved instructions, and clever shortcuts. The mysterious previous owner calls himself the Half-Blood Prince in neat ink on the inside cover. When the class brews a complex potion under Slughorn's watchful eye, Harry follows the scribbled advice instead of the printed directions. His potion turns out perfectly, shining in the cauldron with exactly the right color and texture. Slughorn is delighted, praising his talent and awarding him a prize, a small bottle of a shimmering substance called Felix Felicis, also known as liquid luck. That night in the Gryffindor common room, Harry examines the old book. The neat writing intrigues him. The half-blood prince clearly knew more than the average student. As the weeks go by, Harry begins to rely on the notes more and more, not only to succeed in class, but to discover new spells scribbled in the margins. Life at Hogwarts settles into a new rhythm shaped by the war beyond its walls. There are extra security charms on the gates, frequent checks by teachers, and occasional visits by officials from the ministry. Yet, inside the castle, students still rush to lessons, complain about homework, and cheer for their teams during Quidditch practice. Harry becomes captain of the Gryffindor Quidditch team, organizing tryouts and leading practices under rain and sun. The wind whips his hair as he soars above the pitch. For brief moments in the air, the troubles of the world below fall away. Meanwhile, Horace Slughorn begins to gather a select group of students he calls his favorites. Harry, Hermione, and several others are invited to his evenings, where he serves rich food and tells stories about famous witches and wizards he has taught. Slughorn loves to feel connected to greatness and keeps shelves of photographs and clippings of former students who went on to become important. Harry attends these gatherings not only because Slughorn likes him, but because Dumbledore has asked him to be close to the man. Dumbledore believes that Slughorn holds a memory that is vital to understanding Voldemort, and that Harry may be the only one who can persuade him to share it. As the year continues, Harry cannot shake his belief that Draco is up to something dangerous. He notices Draco's frequent disappearances, his pale face, and the way he sometimes vanishes from the Marauder's map, the enchanted parchment that shows everyone's location in the castle. Whenever Harry looks for Draco, there are times when the map shows nothing at all, as if Draco has stepped into a hidden space. Harry wonders about the Room of Requirement, a magical room that appears only when someone has need of it and takes whatever form is required. He is sure Draco is using it, but the room has many possible forms, and each time Harry tries to make it appear, he cannot be sure he is asking for the same thing Draco has asked for. All around him, friendships and feelings are changing too. Ron begins to date a girl named Lavender Brown, and their openly affectionate behavior around the common room causes tension. Hermione is hurt and angry, though she rarely says so directly. Harry finds himself drawn more to Ginny, who is dating someone else, and this new feeling grows slow and quiet in the background of his days. Even as teenagers navigate crushes and arguments, the castle continues to be watched by adults who know how serious the situation outside truly is. Dumbledore calls Harry to his office from time to time, where they sit together beside the fire and examine memories of the boy who became Voldemort. Those lessons and what they reveal will shape the rest of the year. As autumn deepens around the castle, Harry continues his evening visits to Dumbledore's office. The room is filled with curious silver instruments that hum and spin, and portraits of former headmasters and headmistresses who pretend to sleep but listen to every word. A fire crackles in the grate, casting soft light on shelves of books, and the claw-footed table where the pensive waits. The pensive is a shallow stone basin filled with a strange silvery substance. Memories, carefully drawn from the mind, can be stored and revisited inside it. Dumbledore uses it to show Harry pieces of the past that together form a picture of the boy who became Lord Voldemort. In one memory, Harry sees a cramped house belonging to the Gaunt family. They are descended from Salazar Slytherin, and they cling to that ancient pride even though their lives have fallen into misery. The father is cruel and unstable, the son bitter and resentful, and their miserable home is full of signs of neglect. On the table sits a ring with a curious symbol and a locket that once belonged to Salazar Slytherin himself. Dumbledore pauses the memory to explain quietly that the young witch in that house, Merope Gaunt, will become the mother of Tom Riddle. She lives under the shadow of her violent father and brother, and her magic falters under such fear. When they are taken away to Azkaban, she is left alone in the crumbling house for a short time, free but unsteady. In another memory, Harry visits a London orphanage on a grey day. Inside, children play in echoing halls, and the matron talks to a younger Dumbledore about a boy named Tom Riddle. She describes him as strange, self-contained, and sometimes cruel to other children. Dumbledore goes up to meet the boy who will one day become Voldemort. Young Tom is calm and suspicious. He admits to making things move without touching them, to harming and controlling other children. Dumbledore does not show fear. He explains that Tom is a wizard and offers him a place at Hogwarts. When Tom tries to test his power by telling Dumbledore he steals from the other children, Dumbledore responds with firm kindness, insisting that Hogwarts will not allow bullying or theft. The memory fades, and in the warmth of his office, Dumbledore tells Harry that from the beginning Tom Riddle liked to collect trophies and to feel that he was special and above others. This desire to hold power and to control life and death itself lies at the center of everything he later becomes. Further memories show Tom at Hogwarts, handsome, clever, and much admired. Teachers see him as talented and promising. Other students respect him, though few truly know him. He gathers a group of followers who laugh at his jokes and carry out his wishes. Hidden behind polite smiles, he explores the castle for secrets, delves into dark magic, and begins to search for ways to make himself immortal. One evening, in a gently lit memory, Harry watches Tom Riddle visit an older witch named Hepzibah Smith. She is cheerful and vain, proud of her collection of magical treasures. To impress Tom, she brings out two objects that light his eyes with hunger. One is a cup that once belonged to Helga Hufflepuff. The other is a locket that once belonged to Salazar Slytherin. Tom praises them and flatters Hepzibah. Dumbledore explains that soon after this visit, Hepzibah dies suddenly and her treasures disappear. The records blame a house elf, but Dumbledore believes Tom framed the elf to cover his theft and perhaps her murder. It is likely, Dumbledore says quietly, that Tom chose these objects to become containers for pieces of his soul. Harry listens, shoulders tense, as Dumbledore slowly introduces a terrible idea. There is a magical process through which a witch or wizard can tear the soul by committing murder, and then encase a fragment of that damaged soul in an object. This object becomes a Horcrux. As long as one of these Horcruxes remains intact, the witch or wizard cannot be fully killed. Dumbledore believes that Voldemort has created several such Horcruxes. The diary Harry destroyed in his second year was one. The ring that cursed Dumbledore's hand was another. cup and locket Tom admired in Hepzibah's sitting room may be others. Voldemort may also have used objects from Gryffindor or Ravenclaw to complete his collection. Each Horcrux must be found and destroyed if Voldemort is ever to be defeated. Harry feels the weight of this knowledge settle heavily on his mind. Defeating Voldemort will not be a matter of a single duel, but of a long, careful effort to hunt down hidden pieces of a soul scattered across the world. While Harry learns about the past and about Horcruxes in Dumbledore's office, strange and frightening things are happening within Hogwarts itself. On a cold day when the wind hisses around the towers, a group of students goes to Hogsmeade Village for a weekend visit. There, in the snow-lined streets, they walk past shops and drink warm butterbeer. On the way back, Harry sees fellow student Katie Bell arguing with her friend over a package. The wrapping rips, revealing a necklace studded with opals. Katie touches it for a moment before leaping into the air as if struck. Her body twists as though a terrible force has seized her. She falls back, unconscious and rigid. Teachers rush to help. The necklace is identified as a cursed object, one that was not meant for Katie at all. Harry believes Draco has something to do with it, that the necklace was intended for Dumbledore, or perhaps another important target. The incident shakes the entire school. Security becomes even tighter. Teachers watch students closely, and the air around the castle seems to grow colder. As winter moves in, lessons continue. Snow gathers on the windowsills of classrooms where students practice spells and brew potions. In potions, Harry continues to excel with help from the Half-Blood Prince notes. The book offers clever little spells as well as instructions, and Harry experiments with some of them. Not all of them are harmless. In one margin, he finds the title of a spell named Sectum Sempra, beneath which the prince has written, "Only for enemies." Harry is curious, but has no idea exactly what it does. At the same time, his friendships are feeling strain. Ron, after a small victory on the Quidditch pitch, begins a relationship with Lavender Brown. Their constant displays of affection irritate many in the common room. Hermione is deeply hurt, though she refuses to admit it directly. She and Ron argue. Harry, stuck in the middle, tries to remain loyal to both. He notices his own feelings for Ginny growing stronger with each passing day, though she is still dating another boy. Christmas comes. Harry spends part of the holidays at the Burrow. Snow lies thick on the fields, and the house glows with warmth, but even here danger is close. One evening, Death Eaters find their way near the house, setting fire to the fields and pulling the family into a terrifying chase through the darkness. Harry and the Weasleys are unharmed, but the message is clear. There are very few safe places left. Back at Hogwarts, Harry keeps watching Draco. He sees him vanish from the Marauder's map, as if stepping into a space the map cannot show. He guesses that Draco is using the Room of Requirement, but he cannot discover the correct way to make the room appear in that specific form. Harry talks to Dumbledore about his suspicions. Dumbledore listens thoughtfully, neither dismissing Harry's concerns nor confirming them. He reminds Harry that he is watching many things, and that Draco is not forgotten. Another frightening incident comes in the form of a gift. One day, Ron drinks some mead that was meant as a present for Dumbledore. Within moments, he collapses, poisoned. Panic spreads through the room. Harry acts quickly, forcing a bezoar, a stone that counters many poisons, into Ron's mouth. It works. Ron slowly recovers in the hospital wing, and the school breathes again, though fear remains. Harry is sure that both the cursed necklace and the poisoned mead were part of the same pattern. Someone inside Hogwarts, almost certainly Draco, is trying to harm Dumbledore. Part 6, A Spell Gone Wrong and Truths Revealed. The tension around Draco finally spills over one afternoon in a quiet bathroom on an upper floor. Harry, using the Marauder's map, sees Draco's name drift away from the main crowds of students. Curious and angry, he follows. Inside the bathroom, Draco stands alone at a sink, shoulders shaking. He is not sneering or boasting now. He is staring at his own reflection, pale and desperate, talking to himself about the task he has been given and how he cannot fail. Harry steps out and confronts him. Harsh words fly back and forth. Harry accuses Draco of trying to kill Dumbledore. Draco shouts that Harry does not understand anything. In a sudden flash of rage and fear, both boys reach for their wands. Spells burst into the air, bright against the damp tiles. Remembering the mysterious note in the Half-Blood Prince book, Harry shouts, Sectum Sempra. The effect is immediate and horrible. Draco is thrown back, his body marked by deep wounds, as if slashed by invisible blades. Blood spreads across the floor. Harry is shocked and terrified by what he has done. He had not understood that the spell was so vicious. At that moment, Severus Snape bursts into the room. He pushes Harry aside and kneels at Draco's side, muttering counter spells in a low, urgent voice. Slowly, the wounds knit together, and the bleeding stops. Draco is left weak and shaken, but alive. Snape turns on Harry with cold fury. He demands to know where Harry learned such dark magic. Harry does not dare mention the Half-Blood Prince. Snape, however, already suspects. He punishes Harry with severe detention and orders him to bring all his school books to be checked. Before that can happen, Harry hides the prince's book in the room of requirement, placing it in a huge tangle of abandoned objects from generations of students. He marks the place by hiding it in an old cabinet. With the book hidden, he brings a different textbook to Snape, who must accept it. Harry feels guilty about the harm he caused Draco and uneasy about the possibilities that still lie inside the missing book. The phrase for enemies has taken on a terrible meaning. While Harry struggles with this, Dumbledore continues his careful lessons. They watch the memory of Tom Riddle visiting Hogwarts as an adult, charming the then headmaster, Armando Dippet, and later asking Dumbledore for a job as defense against the dark arts teacher. Dumbledore refused, sensing that Riddle's interest in the position was rooted in something unhealthy and ambitious. After that refusal, no defense against the dark arts teacher has stayed for more than a year. Dumbledore suggests softly that Voldemort may have placed a curse on the position, ensuring that it will always be unstable. There remains one vital memory that Dumbledore has not yet fully obtained. It belongs to Horace Slughorn. Dumbledore knows that at some point, the young Tom Riddle asked Slughorn about Horcruxes, and that Slughorn gave him information he should not have given. Slughorn later altered his own memory out of shame. Dumbledore tasks Harry with getting the unedited version of that memory. Harry tries several times to persuade Slughorn, asking gently, appealing to his better nature, and reminding him of the stakes. Slughorn refuses, frightened and guilty. The memory remains locked away until a night when Harry finally decides to use the bottle of Felix Felicis he has kept safe since winning it in potions class. One evening, Harry tips the golden drops of Felix Felicis into his mouth. At once he feels as if invisible threads are tugging him gently in the right direction. His senses sharpen. The world seems filled with subtle invitations. Instead of going to see Dumbledore as he planned, he finds himself drawn out of the common room, down the stairs, and through the doors of the castle. He runs into Professor Slughorn in the grounds, heading towards Hagrid's cabin at the edge of the forest. The potion nudges Harry to accompany him. Together, they arrive to find that Hagrid is grieving. His giant spider friend Aragog has died. To humans, the creature was frightening, but to Hagrid, it was a companion and a reminder of his own school days. They hold a small funeral in the lamplight outside the cabin. Harry helps dig the grave. Hagrid speaks sadly about Aragog's life and how he never harmed Hagrid or his friends. The night air smells of damp earth and pine. Slughorn, moved by the scene and slightly warmed by the drinks he has brought, becomes sentimental. After the burial, inside Hagrid's cabin, Harry and Slughorn share a quiet moment. Harry, still under the influence of Felix Felicis, chooses his words with uncanny precision. He speaks about his mother, Lily, who was once Slughorn's student. He talks about how brave she was and how she died protecting her child. Harry wonders aloud how Voldemort was able to return from apparent death. Slowly, Slughorn's defenses crumble. He is deeply moved by the mention of Lily and ashamed of his own past. Finally, he draws his wand and extracts a silvery strand of memory from his temple. He gives it to Harry in a small glass vial, begging him and Dumbledore to use it well and not judge him too harshly. Back in Dumbledore's office, Harry tips the memory into the pensive. He and Dumbledore lean over it together and fall once more into the past. They see a younger Slughorn in his comfortable office, surrounded by students, including Tom Riddle. When the others have gone, Tom lingers. He steers the conversation toward dark magic and asks about the possibility of splitting the soul to achieve immortality. Slughorn hesitates, but gives in to curiosity and to the flattery Tom offers. He explains that creating even a single Horcrux requires a horrible act, and that doing so multiple times would be an unspeakable violation of nature. The memory ends. In the office, Dumbledore thanks Harry. With this knowledge confirmed, he can now be sure that Voldemort created multiple Horcruxes. Together, he and Harry list the ones they know or suspect. The diary, the ring, the Slytherin locket, the Hufflepuff cup, something of Ravenclaw or perhaps Gryffindor, and finally, the snake Nagini, who seems to be more than a pet. Harry realizes that the task ahead will be long, dangerous, and exhausting. Yet, Dumbledore looks almost satisfied, as if a difficult puzzle is finally coming together. As the school year moves towards its end, Dumbledore's hand looks weaker, the blackened skin creeping up his arm, but his mind is as sharp as ever. One evening, he tells Harry time has come to attempt to retrieve another Horcrux. He believes that the Slytherin locket, once seen in Hepzibah Smith's treasure collection, is hidden in a place connected to Voldemort's childhood. Late one night, while the rest of the castle sleeps, Dumbledore and Harry leave Hogwarts. They travel to a lonely coastal area where dark waves crash against high cliffs. The air smells of salt and storm. Somewhere in these rocks, Dumbledore says, Voldemort once brought 2 children from the orphanage and did something so terrible that it left a permanent mark on the place. They find a hidden entrance in the cliff face, opened by a small cut on Harry's hand and a smear of blood on the rock. Inside, a narrow tunnel leads them to a vast underground cavern. A black lake fills most of the space, perfectly still and cold. In the center is a small island with a faintly glowing basin. On the shore lays a concealed chain. Dumbledore and Harry pull it, and a small boat rises silently from the dark water. Only one with a less powerful magical signature than Dumbledore can cause the boat to move, so Harry climbs in first. The boat glides across the lake with barely a ripple. On the island, they find the stone basin filled with a greenish potion. Dumbledore is sure that the locket rests at the bottom. The potion cannot be scooped away or vanished. It must be drunk. Dumbledore says that he will drink it, and that Harry must make sure he continues, no matter how he begs for it to stop. Harry is horrified by the request, but he understands. If Voldemort left this trap, it is meant to be endured by a powerful wizard. Cup by cup, Dumbledore drinks the potion. It tastes foul and causes terrible visions. He begins to relive fears and regrets, pleading with Harry to stop, crying out as if seeing people suffer before his eyes. Harry forces himself to continue giving him the potion, even when Dumbledore collapses and begs for it to be over. When the basin is finally empty, Dumbledore lies weak and shaking. He whispers that he needs water. Harry turns to the lake, knowing it is dangerous, but seeing no other choice. When he fills the goblet from the black water, pale hands shoot up, trying to drag him under. The Inferi, dead bodies enchanted to obey Voldemort, rise silently from the water. They surround Harry, cold and relentless. He shouts for Dumbledore, who rouses himself enough to conjure a ring of fire around them. Flames leap into the cavern, sending the Inferi retreating into the depths. Together, Harry and Dumbledore stagger back into the boat with the locket in hand. The journey back across the lake and through the tunnels is a blur of exhaustion. Outside, the night feels colder than ever, but the air is at least free. Part 9, The Tower and the Farewell. Dumbledore and Harry return to Hogsmeade, arriving just outside the village. As they look up toward the school, they see something dreadful. A glowing green skull with a snake tongue, the Dark Mark, hangs over Hogwarts. Dumbledore tells Harry to fetch Severus Snape and the others while he goes ahead. Then, all at once, he changes his mind. He binds Harry with an invisible spell that feels like strong ropes and tells him to come with him instead. He wants Harry at his side. They fly by broom to the top of the astronomy tower and land on the high stone platform. Dumbledore is terribly weak. He tells Harry to fetch Snape. Before Harry can go, they hear footsteps on the stairs. Dumbledore quickly hides Harry with a freezing charm that pins him invisibly to the wall. Harry cannot move or speak. watch. The door bursts open. Draco Malfoy appears, wand raised, pale and shaking. He has managed to bring Death Eaters into the castle using the vanishing cabinets, one in the Room of Requirement and its twin in Borgin and Berks. Dumbledore speaks to him calmly, even kindly, addressing him by his first name. Draco admits that he is under orders to kill Dumbledore. He has tried all year through indirect means, like the cursed necklace and the poisoned mead, but each attempt failed or hurt someone else instead. Dumbledore observes that Draco does not truly want to murder. His hand trembles, and he cannot bring himself to say the final curse. Other Death Eaters arrive. They surround Dumbledore and Draco, urging Draco to act. Dumbledore keeps talking, offering Draco safety and protection for his family if he will lower his wand. For a moment, it seems possible that Draco might accept. Then Severus Snape appears in the doorway. Dumbledore looks at him and quietly says his name, as if asking for something they both understand. Snape raises his wand and speaks the curse that Draco could not. A flash of light. Dumbledore's body is lifted into the air, then falls gracefully from the tower into the darkness below. Harry, still frozen and forced to watch, feels a wave of shock and grief. When the charm finally breaks, he races after Snape and the other Death Eaters through the corridors and out onto the grounds. Spells flash in the night as members of the Order and students try to fight the intruders. Harry catches up with Snape near the edge of the school grounds. He hurls curses, wild with anger and loss. Snape blocks them easily, reminding Harry sharply that he must learn to control his emotions. He reveals that he is the half-blood prince whose notes Harry trusted. Then he and the others flee, disappearing into the darkness beyond the protective boundaries. Back at the castle, the fighting ends. Students and teachers gather under the astronomy tower, where Dumbledore's body lies. The sight of his still form and the knowledge that he is gone settles over Hogwarts like a heavy blanket. The man who had always seemed unshakable and wise, who had guided so many through fear and uncertainty, is no more. In the days that follow, the school moves quietly. Professors speak in hushed tones. Students cluster together in common rooms and corridors, leaning on each other for comfort. There are stories of bravery during the attack and of those who were hurt, including Bill Weasley, who was mauled by the werewolf Fenrir Greyback. Bill survives, but will carry scars and new wolfish traits for the rest of his life. Fleur, instead of pulling away, declares firmly that she still wants to marry him, proving her love to those who doubted her. In Dumbledore's office, Harry discovers that the locket they retrieved from the cave is a fake. Inside is a note addressed to Voldemort. Signed with the initials R.B., the unknown writer claims to have taken the real Horcrux and to intend to destroy it. The discovery is discouraging, but also a clue. Somewhere in the world, someone has already been working against Voldemort. A funeral is held on the Hogwarts grounds by the lake. Chairs are arranged in rows, and white flowers float upon the water. Students, teachers, members of the ministry, and creatures from the forest gather in solemn silence. Hagrid carries Dumbledore's body gently to a white tomb that rises by magic on the shore. Songs are sung. Memories are shared. During the ceremony, Harry feels as if he has stepped out of time. He thinks of all the moments Dumbledore guided him, the calm explanations, the twinkle in his eye, the firm belief that love is stronger than fear. He feels grief like a tide, but underneath it, he also feels a quiet determination growing stronger. After the funeral, the students return to the castle to pack their trunks. In a quiet corner, Harry tells Ron and Hermione that he will not return to Hogwarts next year. Instead, he will dedicate himself to finding and destroying Voldemort's remaining Horcruxes. Ron immediately insists that he is coming too. Hermione, though frightened, also refuses to be left behind. They remind Harry that they have faced danger together from the beginning, and that he does not have to carry this burden alone. Together, they stand at a window looking out over the grounds, where the lake shimmers and the white tomb glows softly in the distance. The future is uncertain. Darkness is gathering. Yet, in this moment, with the castle behind them and the sky stretching wide, they hold on to the simple fact that they have each other. The 6th year at Hogwarts, filled with secrets and sorrow, is over. Ahead lies a journey beyond the safety of school walls. For now, though, as evening falls over the castle and the sounds of the day grow quiet, listeners can rest with the knowledge of what has happened and the feeling that courage, loyalty, and love still stand against the rising dark.